Continuing to track the heat wave in California right now, Cal ISO extended its flex alert again into Monday because of the extreme heat. It'll be into place until 9 o'clock tonight and then again from 4 to 9 p.m. tomorrow. Officials urging people to conserve their energy use by turning off unnecessary lights and avoiding using major appliances. And with this heat wave far from over, state of energy officials anticipate more flex alerts throughout the week ahead. Reducing your energy use during a flex alert is voluntary, but ABC 10's Becca Habegger shows us why experts say everyone doing their part is a proven way of avoiding power outages.
Let's start with your home and the appliances you use on a daily basis. Powering a dishwasher for 1 hour uses more than 300 kilowatts. A clothes dryer uses close to 3,000 kilowatts, and pool pump around 1,000. All these electricity-powered devices, from the biggest one down to your phone charger, make up your home's energy use or demand. Add up all the homes on our grid, plus businesses and other energy users, and we see demand is highest in the late afternoon as temperatures are hottest and AC is blasting, and through a couple of hours after sunset as people are lighting their homes and doing other tasks requiring electricity. Normally, there's a comfortable gap between our energy demand and our energy supply. This is from July 7th, in between a nice, cool holiday weekend and the heat wave that came a week later. But on days like we're seeing now, that gap narrows. Here's how the supply and demand looked Saturday.
Flex alerts are a critical way to deal with that.
Dan Kamen is a UC Berkeley professor and sustainability expert. He says flex alerts, voluntarily reducing your energy from 4 to 9 p.m., can help avoid brownouts and other power outages.
You can plan in advance. You can pre-cool, and then of course during the actual flex alert itself, not running critical loads, washing machines, high power devices, turning off hot tubs, scheduling charging of electric vehicles outside of those critical windows all make a very big difference. And in the past, flex alerts have been really quite significant. We've seen up to 10% or more reduction in peak demand.
Avoiding brownouts and other more drastic measures. But who decides when we need a flex alert? Well, first, let's talk about the broader power grid. The lower 48 United States are divided into 3 interconnections: Eastern, Western, and Texas, which, as you recall, was a problem in February 2021 when a winter storm knocked out power to much of the state. Because they're not interconnected to other grids, they couldn't pull from other state supplies. The Eastern and Western interconnections are made up of balancing authorities, which basically act as control towers for the utilities they oversee. As the U.S. Energy Information Administration puts it, a balancing authority ensures in real time that power system demand and supply are finely balanced. This balance is needed to maintain the safe and reliable operation of the power system. If demand and supply fall out of balance, local or even wide area blackouts can result. The biggest balancing authority in California is the California Independent System Operator, or Cal ISO, which oversees 80% of the state's electricity. They're the ones who declare flex alerts, and other smaller balancing authorities typically follow suit. On Sunday, Cal ISO's president and CEO Elliot Mainzer said more energy conservation will be needed in coming days.
Peak demand is currently forecast to increase to 48,967 megawatts on Monday and 50,099 megawatts on Tuesday, which is close to the all-time record load demand for the system that was set in 2006. Demand is also forecast to be high on Wednesday at 49,268 megawatts and persist at very high levels through the end of next week. We know this has been a long haul and it's going to get more difficult, but your efforts have been working, and your sustained efforts to flex your demand between 4 to 9 p.m. will help us maintain the overall reliability of the grid.
And because this heat wave is affecting much of the western U.S., we can't just pull from our neighbors when our energy grid is strained.
Our Becca Habegger with an important story. Becca, we've just learned in just the last few minutes here that the flex alert has actually been extended from 4 to 9 to now 4 to 10 o'clock tomorrow?
Yeah, that's right. And it just sort of underlies this whole issue that, your voluntary energy reduction during these flex alerts really does make a difference. And for proof, I want to show you today's numbers. Check this out. This is from the Cal ISO app. Check out the peak that hit hours ago. That thinner dotted line, the green line, shows the forecasted energy demand, and the solid green line shows what most of California actually used. So that gap there that kept us from, going beyond that demand, that actually kept us well within our energy supply during those high demand hours.
Wow. Becca, the last time that we saw energy demand like what's forecasted for tomorrow was all the way back in 2020 when we had those rolling power outages. So what has changed since then?
Yeah, well, it was during an extreme heat wave like this one affecting many of the western states back in 2020. But here's what the governor changed. The state changed. Peak demand back in 2020 was about 47,000 megawatts. Since then, the state has added about 4,000 megawatts to the grid through clean energy and about 2,000 megawatts in emergency generators and other reserves. But, Luke, the governor points out that this prolonged drought is keeping the state from generating a lot of hydroelectric power. And the length of this particular heat wave is also putting extra strain on the grid. So again, that's why it's so important for people to participate in these flex alerts, which, as you mentioned, tomorrow is 4 to 10 p.m.
Becca, thank you. An incredibly important story as this heat wave apparently has no end in sight.
Feels like it, right?
All right. Thank you, Becca.